I've been interested in how people lose weight successfully for some time. I probably about 10, 12 years ago, I realized that, while I used words like I want people to get healthier, or I want to lower their blood pressure, or get their cholesterol better, or lower their risk of heart disease, or treat their AFib, what my patients used, the words they used for really what was the same concept was that they wanted to lose weight. And so I got interested in how that process occurs. And so I've heard lots of different people talk to me about what is preventing them from getting their goals, whether it is to lower their blood pressure, treat their AFib, or most commonly to lose weight. And I realized that there is one thing that comes up over and over and over and over again that I have seen and Rielyn has seen as well is the biggest barrier to people achieving their weight loss or their health goals. And so, I think this will surprise you. I think this is something that if you're not talking to a lot of people that are interested in losing weight and getting healthier, then you may not fully recognize this as the biggest barrier. But I would say definitively, and I think Rylan agrees with me, that this is what we have experienced. So if you have thoughts on what this is, jump in. Like, I'd love to see any comments that you have. Like, what do you think the biggest barrier is to people that want to lose weight but aren't getting there? So with that kind of introduction, why are we even talking about weight loss and getting healthier? Well, as you know, our interest, our passion is helping people get the best outcomes, the best treatment for atrial fibrillation. And those words, best outcomes or best treatment, those sound kind of vague, but the real value of that is anything but vague. It's not just about less AFib, although that's certainly a important consideration. But we're also talking about extending our healthy lives, our health span. We're also talking about dramatically lowering the risk for stroke and heart failure and dementia. These are the things that are our goals in life are put at most risk from these things. One of these things occurring to us dramatically changes that idea that we have of how long we're going to be around, our contribution, and all of those things. And the reason that weight loss is something that we talk about a lot is because of the research data around AFib. And you all have seen this if you've watched much of our things, but this is one of the research studies, the CardioFit study, and when they took people that were just mildly overweight, they to get into the study, they had to have a body mass index of 27, which is, the average body mass index in the United States is 29. So not really that much weight loss that these people needed. But when they looked at them and said, okay, well, who didn't lose weight and improve their fitness compared to those who did lose weight, particularly 10%, that seems to be kind of a magic number, and got more fit. In the study, they were able to go on a treadmill for 2 more minutes than the people that didn't. You can see that there was an 11 times difference in the likelihood that they were going to have recurrent AFib or have more AFib. So, I will tell you, in medicine, you probably know this already from your experience as a patient. Those are numbers that we don't have. We don't have treatments that are 11 times more effective very often. So this is really powerful. And part of our passion is to help people who are really struggling with AFib. And there's a lot of them. I mean, there's an AFib epidemic out there. 6 million people in the United States, over 30 million people worldwide that are struggling with AFib. And most of them probably don't need to be. And that's what we do. That's what our interest is. But, it's also important to acknowledge that weight loss, at least lasting weight loss, is really challenging. Like, sure, everybody can lose weight in a temporary fashion, and probably you've had experiences doing that, but getting it to last, that's really the key, right? Like, in one sense, I think, thank goodness that these temporary measures don't work because they're miserable, right? If we had to do that for the rest of our lives, that's not really a key to a healthy life. I mean, the grapefruit diet or whatever crazy diet that is going on out there these days, those are miserable. And there's a reason why they don't last is because they're not sustainable. We can't stick with them over time. And we know that weight loss is pretty infrequent. This is a study that I talk about a lot as well, just to illustrate the point that the chances of somebody who's got a BMI over 30 of achieving a normal weight is less than 1% per year, and even more modest weight loss, 5% weight loss. So, a 200-pound person, 5% weight loss would be a 10-pound weight loss. The chances that happen are less than 15% per year. So pretty infrequent that people actually achieve that weight loss. And what I want to talk about now is why is that? Why is that such a challenge? And here's the biggest reason. And I don't want to say that this is the entire the entire answer, because weight and unhealthy weight and obesity, these are complex topics with lots of different causes. But this is the one that we see the most in people that we talk to that are interested in improving their health and their weight. And the biggest barrier that I see is this: I already know what to do. I just need to, and then fill in the blank. And that could be, I need to watch my carbs. I need to go to the gym. I need to follow that keto diet that worked for me in the past. I just need to do whatever that is. But taking a step back, I just, we've already talked about how challenging it is to lose weight and keep it off anyways. Like maybe, one of the more difficult things to do out there, but also maybe one of the most important as well. I mean, unhealthy weight affects us in so many ways, not just our health. It's our self-esteem, our, how do we feel about ourselves? How do people view us? All of those things. And this is not designed in any way, shape, or form to be a shameful thing. This is more of an opportunity to, live your fullest life. And that's what our goals are. But, taking a step back, maybe you can come up with a better example. I'm struggling with what, like it's something that's challenging that you've accomplished. Think about what that is. Maybe, like the things that come to mind, like, raising children, getting a degree, maybe, for me, this is my example that I have. In my mid 50s, I decided that I was going to learn how to play golf. And what if somebody who had not accomplished that goal, whatever it is that you accomplished, came to you and said, "Oh, well, yeah, I want to do that. But I already know what to do. I just need to do it." Like what if somebody, that doesn't know how to golf told me, "Oh, yeah, golfing's pretty easy. I already know what to do. I mean, you just keep your left arm straight." Or somebody that says, "Oh, yeah, raising kids, yeah, I mean, that's easy. You just love them and strict discipline to make sure they learn right from wrong." Well, anybody who's done it knows it's not that simple. But this is an important point. I mean, I know those are a little bit ludicrous examples. I kind of wanted to give an extreme to make the point, but this is human nature. It's my nature as well. I find myself saying, "Oh, you know what? I can get there. I know this. I can figure this out. I want to learn it myself," and I don't take advantage of the resources that are available to help me do it. Like knowing how to get to Tucson doesn't necessarily get you to Tucson. And a couple of things that I think is important to recognize here. So, if you've found yourself in the same boat, or you certainly have recognized it in other people, that they've had success losing weight temporarily. And that usual weight loss cycle is some temporary intervention. Lately it's been keto and low carb, but in the past it's been the Atkins diet, which also is a low carb thing, but vegan, vegetarian, whole food, plant-based, paleo, whatever that diet strategy of the day it works temporarily and it leads to the weight loss and it's really exciting. But it's just not sustainable. If you're feeling deprived, and that's one of the principles of our program, we talk about this all the time. if you're feeling deprived, it's not going to last. So let's not even go down that path. Let's figure out a way to get you where you want to be, where you don't feel deprived, because we know that deprivation is going to be temporary. But what happens is you feel deprived and you start eating again. You stop going to the gym for 3 hours a day. You something that you've been doing that has led to that success, and of course, temporary intervention, temporary results. You regain the weight and you feel ashamed of yourself because you feel like you're the one that failed that, when in fact, you were set up to fail from the beginning. But when you're back at the top of this circle again, and you realize, well, wait, I need to lose weight. I don't want to be at this weight. My health is suffering. I have other issues that are coming up. Well, the only thing that has worked for you in the past is that keto diet or the juice cleanse or whatever that was. And so by default, you go back to what you know, and it goes round and round and round. Now, here's a couple of things, or here's the question that I would ask you or anybody who says they already know what to do, they just need to do it. And that question is, how is knowing what to do working out for you? Does that make sense? Like, can you see where that disconnect comes from? Where, like say somebody has a business, and the business isn't successful, it's not doing very well, and they say to you, well, I already know what to do, I just need to get better at Facebook ads, or I just need to do better sales copy, or I just need to hire the right employees. But the reality is, if they haven't made that success already, if they're still struggling with that same issue, then maybe knowing what to do isn't really the solution to that. And to go a little bit deeper on that, here's two things that I ask people that tell me, I already know what to do. I just need to do it. I ask them first, is it possible that you don't have the best strategy? Maybe you don't know what to do actually. And this is a little bit more complex, and maybe a little bit deeper, but it's like when somebody says, "Oh, I know what to do. I just need to eat less and move more." Well, in theory, yes, but really, how helpful is that? And I will tell you, I'd be interested, Rylan, you can weigh in on this and say what percentage of people that we've helped, our clients, come in and say, "Oh, my diet's really good." They're already. "Oh, you don't really have anything to teach me about diet. I've read all the articles. I know all the information. I know what to eat." And when we do a deeper dive on those things, they don't have clarity on what to eat. They're either following a calorie restricted or some kind of calorie based or fat based or carb based or something, nutrition plan that isn't working for them. And I'm not saying that those can't work for people. If you say, well, I follow a low carb diet and I am at a great weight and my health is where I want it to be, then I would say, okay, well then knowing what to do has got you where you want to be. But if it's not, if you're not there, then maybe you don't have the best strategy. Maybe you don't. And I say that with some humbleness as well, because when I first started down this path, like I said, 10, 12 years ago, I was, let's set the stage here. I'm a board certified cardiologist at the Mayo Clinic. I did 4 years of medical school and 3 years of residency and 4 years of fellowship. I'm in my mid to late 30s already, my whole life has been spent in education, and most of it around health, and particularly heart health. I had no idea how to help people get healthier. I didn't have any idea how to help myself get healthier. I didn't know the things that I know now about how to help people eat better, how to, get started and stick with exercise. All of those factors, I didn't know those things. Although if you would have asked me at the time, I would have said, "Oh yeah, I know. I know that. I'm a doctor. Of course I know that. And of course I did not. So maybe it's possible that you don't have the best strategy. But the other thing I think is a disconnect for a lot of people is this, and I'd ask, is it possible you need more than just information? If information was what was going to solve your health and weight problems, don't you think they'd already be solved? I mean, how much more information do you need? There's how many millions of hours of YouTube videos are there on weight loss? How many millions of articles, strategies, all of these things are out there already? If that was going to solve your problem, then don't you think it would already have done that? I think it's just something to think about, to challenge yourself, because we all have stories. I have stories, you have stories as well. Those stories are often holding us back, and I think it's important for you to challenge your own stories at times. But if that's not always easy, maybe have somebody challenge them for you, to just say, okay, look, is this really true? And are the results really matching up with what you know? So how do we stop this madness? Like, how do we stop that weight, cycle, that, temporary intervention, can't sustain it, regain the weight, go back to the same old thing? How do we stop that? Well, that's what we do. That's what our program does. And I'll say, this is a lot of the strategy that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. And I believe we have the best strategy out there. That's, of course, I'm biased, but that's my personal opinion, is that we have the best strategy to get people, if somebody comes to us committed to get results and they're coachable, they're going to have success every single time. I really do believe that it has been, and that's been our experience as well. But the point is, strategy is not always what is most needed. A lot of times, it's other factors, the accountability, the support, the mindset shifts that are needed to really get people the success that they're after. And so, we do this in our program. In 12 weeks, our goal is that we get people to the point where they're their own health expert, that they don't need any more diets, any more weight loss programs, any more supplements or strategies. They'll know they're their own health expert at that. And we do that through 3 steps. We give people clarity on what they need to know, where they're going. We give them the proven system on how to get there, and then the accountability to keep them on track over time. So let's just real briefly talk about this. So step 1, clarity. We get clear on all these factors that are most important in the causes and the treatment of AFib. So we do talk about the medical treatment of AFib, but what we mostly focus on are what are the underlying causes that we can address that are going to dramatically lower that risk of recurrent AFib and stroke and heart failure and dementia and all those things. Blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, alcohol, tobacco, sleep, nutrition, physical activity, mindset, stress management, weight. Just real briefly, so medical treatment, of course, I'm not anybody's doctor in the program, but I can look things over and give them general information that they can take back to their doctor to, make sure that they're getting the right treatment for their AFib. Blood pressure. What's the best blood pressure goal? There's a lot of debate about that. This is my area of expertise, so I can clarify that. And then I see people all the time that are on medications for blood pressure that doesn't really make sense. They're not on the best medications, and that's not just my opinion. Those are the expert guidelines. It happens frequently. I can give some people clarity on that. What's a good cholesterol level? Who should be taking a statin? What are your blood sugar goals? What's the best way to achieve them? How much alcohol is okay if you have AFib? And how important is sleep, and particularly sleep apnea if you have AFib? I'll give you just a little insight on that. About half the people with AFib have sleep apnea. 80% or more of them don't know that they have it. What's a safe and effective exercise routine for your AFib and health goals? I think this is one of the bigger questions people come to us with. AFib, there's a lot of complexity around exercise and AFib and how people feel. that's one of the things that is really helpful in giving people clarity. What's the best diet for your AFib and weight loss? And I emphasize your in there because I will tell you there's not one diet for everybody. But what we do is give people a framework so that they can find their best diet, the one that they're going to live for a lifetime because they love it, not because they have to eat that way. Stress is really important in health, not always easy to measure, but it absolutely impacts our health. And, what are some proven ways to help improve stress? And then lastly, what's that proven strategy to lasting weight loss? There are people that have been successful in losing weight and keep it off. We know a lot about those people, and that's what our program is based on. So, the second part of this, once we got people clarity, is giving them that system. Because any complex objective needs a system to accomplish that, whether it's running a business or learning a golf swing or whatever it is that you're doing that's complex, you need a system in place. So we get people clear on what they want to accomplish, why it's so important, and then an action plan that gives them that daily task they need to get the results that they're after. And then lastly, the accountability portion. This is not my phrase. I stole it from somebody else, and I can't remember who it was. But the glue that binds commitment to results, that's accountability. We all know that, and we do that through tracking progress every day. People attending weekly live sessions with us. They schedule appointments whenever they get stuck, and we ask them to hold us accountable as well, and ask that question frequently. Are you making progress? Because if you're not, then we need to know about that, and we need to overcome that barrier for you together. And that's an important part of accountability on both sides.